factors influencing weight and fat control. Lifestyle. And when I say lifestyle, it's not just a word. It literally, lifestyle is everything we do. What we eat, what we think, what we smell, what we see, what we believe in, all of that. Peer pressure, lifestyle is the biggest thing we can have in our ecology. It's us moving through life, moving through everything, people we talk to, magazines we read. So a lot of the time, when we are dealing with weight loss, in my notes I put in lifestyle change, dietary lifestyle change. It's an easy thing, it just comes automatically. It's actually in my macro right now. But the importance of it is huge. Changing lifestyle patterns is extremely difficult. Most of the time, weight loss programs do not work because we think if we follow this diet, that's all we need. That is not what's going to make the change. Change is lifestyle. Okay. Some of the simple lifestyle, and these are numbers we put in there because we can measure them. It's easy to talk about. So a lot of things which really affect your weight, nobody talks about it. We don't want to talk. It takes too long, it's too personal, it's too intimate, and we just will say, they're not patients, are never going to do it. Right? And there's a lot of money in keeping us obese. If we say we have to cut our food by 20%, eat less. If every American actually did that, do you know what's going to happen to the food industry? Right now you have Harris Teeter, Food this, Food that, Kroger's, all these things. And they put one every time there's a new building going up. So there's billions and trillions of dollars in the food industry to make sure we stay overweight, we stay obese, and not really educate us about that. Okay. Lack of regular, so consumption of excess calories. Excessive calories is not eating too much. That's a misnomer. Most of people think excessive calories think we should eat less. But you look at, today in my office, we had a birthday, so somebody made a cake. It was a chocolate cake. You looked at it, it was heavy. It was full of that one piece of chocolate probably had more calories in it. I'm just making the assumption, more calorie in it in a whole Italian pasta dinner. Right, just one piece. So when I'm talking about excess calories, it's not the amount of food. It's how dense the calorie it is. That's what kills us. Okay. Lack of regular physical activity. I'm not saying exercise. I'm talking about regular physical activity. Now, human beings were programmed, or we grew up walking, just like we breathe, wash our mouth out, go to the bathroom. Walking is part of who we are. Human beings should be walking about 5,000 steps a day, minimum, on your bad day. On a reasonable day should be 7,000 steps. On a good day should be 10,000 steps a day. And that's spread throughout the day. That doesn't mean you're going jogging, running on the treadmill, just walking. Take the stairs. Park the car in the far end of the parking lot so you have to walk. They're all steps. All those steps add up. That's part of it. It's like breathing. You just don't say, I don't feel like breathing. But most of us do. Most of us don't breathe much. If I look around there, most of us sitting down, very shallow breathing. The chest doesn't even go up. It's just, that's it. So, but if you just breathe properly, our anxiety goes down, our blood pressure goes down, so many things, mental health gets better. Same thing walking. So walking 5,000 to 7,000 steps is not exercise. It is regular physical activity to just body in motion. Human beings are made to be mobile. We are not trees. We are not anchored. When we start pretending to be trees, it's bad. Now if you look at a lot of the Google, 3M and all of that, all the executives, all those people, they have treadmill benches. Have you seen them? Or treadmill desks. They're not running, they're just walking always. And they're walking and writing. The reason is you're finding out, if you are mobile, if you're walking, your brain is actually thinking more. You're more creative and you're more healthier. So Google and 3M, they're not really interested in personal health. They want productivity. Right, and these are creative people. By doing that, they're more creative. Sitting in a chair is the worst thing you can actually do. But yet, our whole system is based on sitting on the chair. Why was sitting on the chair? Industrial revolution. You wanted everybody to stay in one place. You can absorb your employees. You can order them and make them do what you wanted to do. So you had to tie them up in one place. That's a cultural background of the Western culture. And with that also came in obesity too. Okay, or start obesity. Now, what about the regular exercise and physical activity? Each hour increases in TV by adolescents, 2% increase in obesity. So every hour your teenage kid is watching TV and sitting down, you have 2% increase obesity. Now, on the other hand, if you're watching TV, exercising, just jumping on a little trampoline, or doing something active, and you don't have the sofa to sit in, that's different. It's just inactivity. So increased TV by adolescents. Most adolescents are sitting down, drinking Coke, Pepsi, one of those drinks, and that's it, or energy drinks, and that's the start of obesity. Adults 15 and over spend an average of 2.73 hours per day watching TV in 2010 statistics. Okay? Each hour increase in TV time by adults increase risk of death by 11%. Okay? Just by, so these are data which doesn't come out, but this is what I mean by lifestyle changes. Little things. And we say, well, I learned it, it's tired, I was up in the office all the time, I was so hard, but the reality is, my butt was nailed to the chair, I didn't really move, I come home so tired. You're mentally tired, not physically tired, and that translates to physical tired. So you sit down, you've learned the time to sit on the sofa, watch TV, chill out, have a coffee, maybe some cookies, maybe a little ice cream. They all got up. But reality is death 11%. Okay. Any form of activity that burns additional calories help maintain weight. And each step counts. And that's activity. Exercise would be doing yoga, going to the gym, jogging, something like that. We're not talking about exercise. We are just talking about regular physical activity. Right? I know people who go regular physical activity, rest of the week exercise, they're not active. That doesn't cut it either. This is the baseline to start with. Okay? It's like saying, I go to the dentist, so I don't need to brush my teeth. The absurdity of it, but that's the logic we use. Okay? Any form of activity that burns additional calories help maintain weight. We're not talking about losing weight, maintaining weight. Data from the National Health Interview Survey shows that 4 out of 10 adults in the United States never engage in any exercise, sports, or physical activity, hobbies in their leisure time. 4 out of 10. 40%. Okay. Then we wonder why the healthcare bills are going on, why people are there, why people lose their temper in the cars. We are not active. There's nothing to burn things off. All our emotions are seething. What happens when you're active and you're walking and things like that? You burn off a lot of the excess hormones, epinephrine and the neurotransmitters. So you all work in the offices, you all have people, you think they come and talk to you and you look at them and say, I wish I could shoot them, I wish I could kill them. And you can't. So what do? You sit and see it. Right. Your hormones stop, everything else, you're ready to go at them, but you're smiling and sitting and saying nice things. It just makes things worse. And then you go home. All the hormones never got worked out. But if you take a walk for lunchtime, everything, a brisk walk, just burn those things off. Take deep breaths, burn it off. But when you don't, they all percolate in you. You're a pressure cooker. Factors influencing weight and fat loss, genetics play a big role. What is not understood was variation in weight gain. 25% of weight gain is related to genetics. 25, quarter of it. That's pretty significant. So that's why you can't, you don't know how's your grandmother like? How's your great-grandmother like? How's your grandma? How's your mother? All those things play a part in kind of getting an idea what is your genetics. Or you can go to an office like our office, which is genetic testing. We test your genes and we can tell you. Now, why is that important? Because most of you here are women. People who have more weight, who tend to be overweight, are the ones who survived through all the famines, pestilence, everything and throughout history. Because if you didn't have enough fat weight, you couldn't menstruate, you can't get pregnant, you can't bear a baby. So really, all the population are survivors. If you have Another thing, and we were thrown back in the Stone Ages. All the nice, slim women, they're going to die out because they just can't survive. Storing body fat was a way to survive. So you're talking about a lot of genetic systems. So it's important to know what's your ideal weight is. Ideal weight is not what the US government says, or Cosmopolitan says, or whatever, or your doctor says. You have to find out what that ideal weight where you can function best. And you have the least amount of pathology. Okay? So that's familial. And familial association. In other words, certain weight runs in families. It may have something to do with genes. It may not have much to do with genes. It may have something culturally. Right? If eating is a big part of your family, of how you have happiness, that's an important part. Right? But on the other hand, a lot of the eating too, the families, Italian families, for example. I went to medical school in Italy, so I tend to use that example a lot. They all get together, eat a lot, but they also are active. They diffuse, they yell, scream at each other, but they diffuse all their emotions, right? And so that's the kid. When you're sitting on the table, anything is allowed until the matriarch tells them shut up, right? So that's one way. So that's a healthy way. But when people come from out of that culture, come here, then what is? They come in, they eat because mama made you all this food, but you're not talking to anybody else. You're too busy with the cell phone, and you walk. Then you have corrupted that cultural positivity into a negative. Okay, so those play a part in it. So those are things no one can tell you. You have to get the insight to say, why are we doing this? Family traditions all of a sudden takes a new value. The tradition is there for a reason, but when you corrupt the tradition, then you lose it. Then it becomes a negative. Okay, those are important things. So largest transmissible variation is cultural. Okay. Another major issue is hormones. Now you can take any any weight loss program. If your hormones are messed up, you're not going to succeed. You can follow the regimen exactly. You can swear that I did everything right. But you all know doing things right doesn't actually you don't actually get the right outcome. You work for the Coast Guards, you work for the federal government. Doing right doesn't always get you what you want. So it's a matter of but so what it is, the hormones are important. Hormones are the infrastructure. So you're doing the right thing, but if you don't have the right infrastructure, it's all wasted. So people go through diet and they give up. They get depressed. The self-image goes to crap. So you need to know, before you start a weight loss program, is your hormones okay? DHA is a hormone. It's a pre-hormone. If you don't have appropriate DHA, you can't burn fat. If you don't have appropriate testosterone, you can't build muscle. If you can't build muscle, you can't burn fat either. Right? I mean, those are the things you all need to know. Women who have low testosterone, but then also have low estrogen, can have a lot of problems. You need to have a balance. Think of your car with 4 tires. All 4 tires can be half empty. You can drive around Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, and Norfolk, have no problem. But it's half empty. But all 4 of them are half empty. If you decide to fill up the tire, and suddenly you get a beep or leak, you fill 1 tire up, other 2 are the same. What happens? You get an accident. Hormones are the same thing. You can't just, and I see this a lot of women who go to the GYN, and the hormones are low, they put them on estrogen, or they put them on progesterone. But estrogen, the testosterone is not checked, DHA is not checked. So what happens? You create an imbalance. Hot flashes disappear, and you gain weight. You go on a diet, you're eating diet, you're doing everything right, but you're not losing weight. That's hormone imbalance. So you have to think, and if you use a metaphor of the 4 wheels in a car, things have to be in balance. Things can be low, and you can function fine. You see people, China, India, Africa, people don't have that much food. They do not have all the nutrition. And they're sick, and they still function better than we do. Because they've hit stasis, they've got a nice balance. Even though it's low, it's a balance. So especially when we have excess, balance becomes more important. So what are the endocrine, the hungry hormone? Now, one of the things a lot of patients come and say, my thyroid must be low. Less than 2% of the obese population have a thyroid problem. Okay, so that's not it, but it can be all the other hormones. But we think of thyroid all the time. It's much more complex than that. If it was that simple, you wouldn't have obesity like we were looking at it. 68% of the population are either obese or overweight. Okay. Hunger, just some numbers or definitions. Hunger is an inborn physiological response to nutritional need. Most of us have never really, we don't know what hunger is. If you haven't eaten for a few days, nothing, you know what hunger is. What we know is appetite. I gotta eat. And we say hungry, but it's an appetite. It's a learned response to food that's tied to emotional or physiological craving. What happens when you're walking down, you see a donut, you don't have to eat it. You go by, you find a reason, you circle down, no, I was really coming to Europe, but I wanted to get the water. I want to drink water, drinking water, looking at it, then go back, come back. Yeah, I'll get the facts done there. I'd rather use that machine, because it's good for me to walk that distance. And the next thing you have a donut in your hand, you just don't know what happened. So that's an appetite. Now, interesting enough, that is a genetic trait. We are finding out there are genetic traits which makes people get that higher appetite, wanting to snack. Those people, there are some people who can stand next to them and not even touch it, keep talking, they're involved, passionate in what they talk about. Other people out there, they're talking and the hand reaches. It becomes a response. There's a genetic component to that. Okay, it's good to know that. So if you know that's your genetic component, instead of beating yourself over the head, trying self-discipline, all of that biofeedback, you just realize that if you go into any room, if you see the food is there, you go to the other end and start the conversation. You do not want to go there because that's temptation. And you're going to, something is going to happen. So keep the other way. It's like, in other ways, you're married, you see, and you have a tendency to cheat. Best thing is not to be around people you will end up cheating. Right, it's the same thing, food. Sometimes I think food is much more tempting than anything else. Okay. Satiety, to feeling satisfied, full. What that means is, some people genetically have the satiety genes is different. Some people can eat, they're full, and they still could eat a little more. So they just have to, open up the pants a little bit, eat some more. And they say, I'll go for a walk and come back and eat. Because your satiety is never achieved. Other people can eat a little bit, and they say, well, I've got a bird stomach. It isn't. It's that the satiety index is higher, so what happens is, they just eat a little bit, and they're full. They don't have to eat more. That is also a genetic trait. So it's good to know what your genetic trait is, so you can figure out what your expectation from yourself is. Right? If not, you're blaming yourself. So this is the 21st century. It's important for us to have information. You work in Coast Guards. Most of you probably do a lot of data processing. Yet we don't know enough about ourselves. It's like a computer. You have a computer, you're the computer, your keyboard, instead of you programming yourself, you're leaving the keyboards out there so everybody else can program you. And you just don't have a keyboard to program yourself. The more information you have about yourself, the better you can set your parameters, your expectations. And weight loss is a lot about expectations, self-esteem, lifestyle.